Hey guys, it's Skyon here with a new video, and of course it is an update to my attribute stacker Ascendant using the 400% Explode Totem Crucible node. Now before we begin, I feel the need to quickly mention this just because of a few comments I read on the previous video. If your interest is just Explode Totem and you're out here searching for the absolute best Explode Totem build, please pause this video, type in the search box like Pathfinder, Poison, Explode Totem or something, and if you land on a video showcasing like 600% Explode Totem node, 70% chance to summon 2 totems on a well-crafted rare bow with some plus gem levels in the mix, then those videos might be more suitable for you. So yeah, good. With that out of the way, if you are sticking around, then you know that our main focus here is with attribute stacking that comes with decent generic damage scaling and some defensive bonuses as well, which makes it a good template that is flexible with many skills. And for our case, we are rolling with the 400% Explode Totem, just because it happened to be on our Crucible tree when we upgraded our Widow Hail bow right here. So in my last video, we talked about some goals for the build, stuff like 100% spell suppression or 500% generic increased damage, most of the stuff that will come naturally with stacking attributes past 1k and as high as possible. And by this point, we have achieved pretty much like everything we discussed before, except for 100% Fizz to LE conversion, which we will discuss in a bit. The first thing we're going to look at here is our gem setup, and we will do it the fun way by foul orbing them all. Obviously we will exclude the cast 1 damage taken level 1 setup here with Void Sphere and Temp Chains, and obviously the Vow Molten Shell, and then the level 21 Rejuvenation Totem here, which I leveled and vowed myself in my weapon swap. And actually let's take these as well, might as well. And of course the only thing I'm really looking for here is the Empower gem, hoping something good happens here, but let's see. Let's see what happens. So here we go. Okay, so let's put this back. Storm Golem, okay, quality 23. It's gonna go back right here. We have Dash, nothing. Second Wind, okay, level 19. We have Determination, nothing. Defiance Spanner lost like 10 quality, okay, whatever. We have the Herald of Purity, nothing. Herald of Ash, nothing. Lost the level on Purity of Elements, and Wrath, nothing, not really used in the build yet. Oh, level 21 Divine Blessing, that's pretty cool. Hatred, nothing. Inspiration, nothing. And in our main 6 link here, we have Trap, level 21, good. Cluster Trap, nothing. Multi-Totem, lost a bunch of quality. Multiple Trap, nothing. And of course nothing happened on the Empower. Oh well. Okay, so that's, I hope you guys got a chance to see the gem setup. Just talking a little bit about the multi-totem here. Usually, like if in a proper like Explode Totem setup, people would also aim for 70% chance to summon 2 totems on the Crucible tree as well, and which means they do not like, and then they combine that with 30% from the Totem Mastery, I believe. The second mastery right here. So if you combine those, like it would, you do not need a multi-totem, but then the extra gem that they will usually use will be charged trap support, which all it does is gives you frenzy charges for some extra speed and damage. But since we are in Ascendant and we are taking Raider, and the on-hit effect does work with the Explode Totem, so stuff like the consecrated ground on hit from Inquisitor, and blind on hit from Saboteur, and of course the frenzy charge on hit from being Raider. So yeah, we do not so we get the frenzy charges from the our ascendancy, so meaning we can use like multi-totem, and meaning we do not need the expensive Crucible tree having both the Explode Totem and the 2 totem nodes. Okay, so moving on to the gear, the first change from the last video that is the Astramantis. We are now using the max rolled one with Attribute Catalyst and Utmost Might Anointment. I got some 10C rings, rare rings with like life attributes. Actually, like crafted life and attributes, and of course the catalyst as well. I do not think I showed my quiver last time. It's just a file arrow quiver with Shaper Influence and outspam until Fizz is cold. Get any other quiver with Warlord Influence, outspam until Fizz is fire, Awakener Orb, and using whatever I end up with. I believe this is either like the second or third quiver I made. Obviously, all the effects found on this quiver are getting multiplied by 3.5 times, thanks to our Widow Hell Bow. So it would have been nice, like if it had a decent amount of life, maybe it would have pushed my life above 6k. But for my case, like I needed the oh sorry, I need to actually turn on everything. Yeah, so I actually needed the cold resistance here, like you can see, to cap it. So, and this one just happened to have it, so I'm using it for now. The rest of the gear is pretty much the same as last time. As you can see, I also added the intelligence per quality enchant on my max 75 all attribute Sakuo's Nest. Now moving on to the tree, I discussed some alternatives in my previous video, such as like coming this way and then going up here and going backwards to get the extra like the aura nodes, or going this way to kind of grab the the mana cost of skills, and then also getting the mana mastery here for the mana reservation efficiency. But in the end, like we decided to keep the pathing we had before. The first change I did was taking the points off here, the reduced cost of skills and life, and like now you can see that like I try to spam my traps. Now the what do you call it, the ES usage is slightly outpacing the ES recharge if I hold down my skill, but it's not to the point that is too uncomfortable. So yeah, I took these points off. So with the extra points, the initial plan was to start a cluster jewel setup here, up here for the split personality. I have 2 in the build, but then after like looking around, I decided to take some more like 2-point jewel slots over here and like over here, and then like I took more masteries, like the Totem mastery, and I believe the aura mastery here. No, I think I took it over here. Yeah, the damage aura mastery, and then I took the mana nodes up here actually, which has 22 intelligence, so that's 2 points, giving 20 intelligence, equal to like no different than these travel nodes. And then this allowed me to grab the mana mastery with the mana reservation efficiency, which meant that now I can grab like or use another like a small aura, and it could have been like whatever level of vitality to go with the Inquisitor, the consecrated ground with a node here for a little bit of increased effect. And since I'm using rejuvenation totem, like vitality could have been nice, but I decided to go with the defiance banner here with to get some extra armor. So with all that, like defensively we are having almost like 20k armor, with flasks I guess like 4.45k, and with like molten shell and foul molten shell over here, like we have a lot more armor, so that's pretty neat. And then we are ailment immune from our Purity of Elements, and then we have the stun immunity here from Unwavering Stance, and yeah, like you can see now we have the spell suppression chance is 100%. Basically, like if you look at Mage Bane here, if you do the math, then 1200 dex would give us 80% spell suppression, and the Raider Ascendancy would give us the remaining 20%. And if you are struggling to hit 1200, like you are just like 2 nodes away from these two, so you can kind of like cheat it. But since dex equals more damage anyways, it is nice to set 1200 as the goal, so you can also like save the 2 passive points. Now talking about the Fist to LA conversion, we still just have the Cold and the Fire Mastery 40 and 40 for a total 80%. And then the easiest way to get the remaining 20 will be to use a Watcher's Eye. Watcher's Eye that has the Fist to Cold conversion while affected by Hatred, and I can probably easily get that. Maybe it will cost me a few divines, but yeah, if you look at the Watcher's Eye I'm using here, I'm using it mostly for the Chaos resistance while affected by Purity of Elements, because even with this Chaos res, by Purity of Elements mod here, like my Chaos resistance isn't too good. Like it's to the point that like I'm using the my Pantheons, or dedicating my Pantheons to help defend against Chaos damage. And like if I look for the Watcher's Eye with both the Hatred conversion and the Chaos rest while affected by Purity of Elements, the price only jumps to like 30 divines or something like that. So I felt like it was too pricey for a small amount of damage increase, which I did not feel like I needed. And if I ever bother to like work on converting the remaining 20%, I think personally, like from my build, like my approach will be to keep this current Watcher's Eye, maybe lose the Defiance banner that I managed to fit in after the Mana Mastery, so like take it back out, and maybe I can still go with the different pathing. Maybe it could be a different anointment, like with the Charisma here, like just do and also the Helm enchant for mana reservation efficiency for any of the other auras that I'm using, like just trying my best to get Hatred as a permanent aura, and then use my Wrath aura with the Divine Blessing. And but then again, like I did not feel the need to go through like so much hassle. Like I don't like to run lefts too much. Like it felt like a lot of work for full conversion that would just add a small amount of damage to the build. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is enemy elemental resistance. You saw, like for example, the only curse I have in the build is right here, Temp Chains, instead of like say LA weakness. And I also do not bother with like exposure, and that is because we're playing around this elemental mastery right here, which says like 25 chance to treat enemy monster elemental resistance values as inverted. So like what this does is, let's say you hit an enemy with 50 LA resistance, and if this mastery kicks in, then you will hit that enemy as if it has minus 50% resistance instead. And this does not work nicely with curses that reduce enemy resistance or exposure, because those are considered as some kind of state that the enemy is in. Like at the time when your damage hits an enemy, the enemy is considered to be either cursed or not, or the enemy either has exposure or not. So what ends up happening is, again, like going back to the enemy with 50% resist, if you curse and give exposure to lower the resist to, let's say, 10%, and then the inverted resistance happens, then the enemy is treated as having minus 10% instead of minus 50%. And that is why, like, no elemental weakness or exposure. But from what I'm reading, and if I'm not wrong, like elemental penetration should work, because this is just a calculation on your damage. So what I read is the elemental penetration, the calculation happens after the inverted resistance mastery. So once the ones we have from like the Inquisitor, or if you like choose to like take these two nodes over here, like those two should work. And of course, like during general mapping, like your you're fighting like trash mobs, like everything gets one-shotted anyway, so you don't really see it. But like if you're facing bosses or something and you suddenly like you're doing like mediocre damage and then suddenly you see the boss losing like chunk of damage, that's the inverted resistance happening, and you can definitely see the difference there. Yeah, so okay, I think like that covers pretty much everything I want to say about the build. Again, since the attribute stacker is what I call like a template that comes with like a decent amount of damage and like the defenses, I will most likely continue to play, maybe try out like some different skills. Actually, yeah, I did not see this. Did anything happen here? Wow, that sucks. Okay, so this is the best result I got, the 2023. But yeah, so I like maybe I'll try different skills. Maybe I'll try to push the numbers even higher. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But for now, I will leave you with a serious run I did with this exact setup minus all the corrupted gems. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video.
What's this? A real talent. You finally caught my attention. Found strength in their projections. They became reliant on it. Not so foolish.
Your lives are meaningless!
Really interesting enough to warrant all this pain.
Your lives are meaningless! Cosmos!